All right, so in today's video, I'm going to be going over my top 20 fragrances that I have in my collection from Fragrance World. So this particular list, I probably could have waited, until maybe about December or so, to do this list to kind of make sure that I've gotten, for the most part, all of the different Fragrance World fragrances for this year. But I just decided to go ahead and just do it now. Because I do feel like, all of the fragrances on this actual list here are very solid choices. All right. So just to get started, I have here Fragrance World Suits. And this is going to be their inspiration of Vie Ciel's Tuxedo. This, in my opinion, is the best, sort of Middle Eastern cheap inspiration that you can get of that fragrance. Really good presentation here with the bottle. And then the smell obviously is very good as well. Not going to be as spicy and peppery as what Tuxedo is in the immediate opening, but I think where this fragrance shines is definitely the dry down. It does the best job out of any Tuxedo clone or Tuxedo inspiration that I've smelled so far. It does the best job at recreating that patchouli and that sort of bourbon vanilla mix that you get in the dry down. And also the performance is very good on this, at least for me anyway. I actually get better performance out of this than what I do the Maison Alhambra, the Tux, as well as even the original. So definitely I do recommend this one. Again, this is Fragrance World Suits. All right, next one on the list, this is from the French Avenue line, and this is Fragrance World's take on PDM's Latent Exclusive, and this is Miraj Absolu. So Miraj Absolu is, from what I can tell, the highest quality latent exclusive inspiration that I've smelled. Comes extremely close to the original, definitely 90+% close. It absolutely performs better than Anarchy does, both in terms of projection and longevity. And just overall, you can tell that, the quality of this fragrance is higher quality than what it is in Anarchy. Now, it's not really by a lot. So, probably for most people, they would still be okay with kind of, using Anarchy as their, alternative to latent exclusive. But I think if you want the best one, this is definitely going to be the best one, at least from Fragrance World anyway. All right, so again, this is Miraj Absolu, and also in terms of performance, this is going to give you at least over 10 hours. At least that's what I'm getting with this fragrance so far. And it does give you pretty good, projection as well, at least for about the first hour and a half or 2 hours or so. So absolutely check this one out. It does go for about $70, so it is a little bit more pricey, but I do think it's worth it. And again, Miraj Absolu from French Avenue. All right, another one from French Avenue. This is their take on By Kilian's Angel Share. This is Royal Blend from French Avenue. I just recently did a video on this fragrance, comparing it to Angel Share. And at least so far anyway, to me, this is hands down the best Angel Share inspiration that I've smelled anyway. And I mean, for the price that this goes for, I really don't see why you would pick anything else over this. This goes for like $29.99 on most websites. And this is for a 100 ml bottle. And I mean, again, the quality is right there when it comes to, comparing it to Angel Share. The smell is also right there as well. This is extremely close. I mean, it's almost, damn near like a 1-to-1 almost, in my opinion anyway. And also the performance on this is slightly better than what I get from Angel Share as well. Definitely in terms of longevity. So this is, in my opinion, the best Angel Share inspiration. I absolutely recommend it. And again, this is going to be Royal Blend from French Avenue. All right, next one is going to be another one from French Avenue again, and this is Liquid Brun from French Avenue. This is going to be their inspiration of PDM's Altair. And this is a very, very good inspiration, man. This is It's slightly different in the opening. You don't get as much bergamot in the opening of this fragrance. You definitely get, in my opinion, a little bit more spice than what you get with the original. But that difference is something that only really lasts for like maybe the first 3 to 5 minutes or so. And then after that, it definitely, it becomes almost, identical to the Parfums de Marly Altair. So performance wise, this is also very good as well. You're going to easily get, 8 to 10 plus hours, of longevity with this fragrance. And then in terms of the projection, this also is very good as well. It's going to give you 3+ feet of projection. So definitely this is not going to be like a super close to your skin sort of vanilla scent at all. This is going to be slightly on kind of like the louder side, especially depending on how many times you spray it. But this is a very, very nice, in my opinion, masculine sort of vanilla scent. So definitely, if you're a fan of Altair, I would absolutely recommend this for sure. This is like a fraction of the price, and you're pretty much getting the same scent. Again, this is French Avenue's Liquid Brun. All right, so the next one is going to be also inspiration of a Parfums de Marly fragrance. This is their take on Parfums de Marly's Hautaine, and this is Fragrance World's Hartnell. So Hartnell, in my opinion, so far out of what I've smelled, in terms of Hautaine inspirations, which really so far it's just been this one and the one from Luciano. I believe it's called Luciano's Legacy. I do think that this one is better than Legacy. The quality to me is it's better than what you get with the Luciano. Now this isn't, in my opinion, it's not necessarily like 100% close to Hautaine, but in the ways that this is actually different, I do actually prefer it. So to me, with this fragrance, you get a little bit more of that praline note, a little bit more of the praline and the saffron, in my opinion, in this fragrance than what you get in the original Parfums de Marly fragrance. And to me, this one is slightly less herbal than what the Parfums de Marly fragrance is. So those are things that I prefer out of this fragrance. That may not be the case for you, but I think either way, if you like Hautaine, then I do think that this is a very, very good alternative to that fragrance. All right. This also gives you very good performance as well. You're easily going to get over 8 to 10 plus hours of longevity with this fragrance. And also the projection is quite loud for, at least I would say about the first 2 hours or so, of wearing the fragrance. So if you're looking for a really cheap but high quality interpretation of Hautaine, then I definitely recommend Fragrance World's Hartnell. All right, next one on the list is another one from French Avenue, and this is their take on Initio's Side Effect, and this is After Effect. All right, so After Effect, this is also a very, very good clone or inspiration, I could say, of Initio Side Effect. So this fragrance is going to be extremely loud. So you do want to, kind of pay attention to how many times you spray this fragrance. If you spray it too much, it can, in my opinion, kind of become headache inducing. I typically only go maybe about 4 to 5 sprays maximum. Anything over that, it starts to give me a headache and kind of choke me out. But this is just a really sort of boozy, spicy, vanillic sort of, in my opinion, sexy sort of nighttime type of scent. I have worn this fragrance in the daytime, but I typically tend to reach for this one more so during the nighttime. I think that's definitely when this one is, best suited for. And this is definitely, in my opinion, also like a really good date fragrance as well. Just, kind of watch your sprays on it. In terms of the longevity, this is easily a 12+ hour fragrance. And like I said, the projection is pretty loud on this, at least for like the first 3 hours or so. So This is definitely a beast of a fragrance, and it absolutely smells, you know, high quality for sure. So definitely check this one out if you like Initio Side Effect. Again, this is After Effect from French Avenue. All right, so the next one, in my opinion, is the best, you know, Middle Eastern inspiration of Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité, and this is L'Infinite. All right, so this is a part of the Jack Yves line from Fragrance World. They also have the Soleil de Ambre fragrance in this line, the Champ de Rose as well, which that one is actually a really, really good, you know, interpretation of, I believe it's Rose de Vent from Louis Vuitton. But this one again is their interpretation of L'Immensité. So this, in my opinion, is going to be the best interpretation out of all those other different, you know, inspirations of the fragrance. So in my opinion, it is going to be better than the Jean Lo Immortal, you know, the Luciano Magnitude, the Flavia fragrance, L'Impression. This is better than that, in my opinion. I'm sure there's other ones that I'm probably forgetting that I probably have even, you know, reviewed before, but this to me is going to be the best one. Now, it's not going to give you as good of projection or longevity as what the original fragrance does, in my opinion. This is going to be slightly softer than L'Immensité, you know, would be. But in terms of how close this comes, you know, with how watery it is, the herbal aspects of the fragrance, and just the overall quality, to me, this is definitely the best one. The other fragrances, you know, like Jean Lo Immortal, to me, they kind of lean more so into like the spiciness of the fragrance. And, you know, they're definitely, some of those are definitely louder than the original fragrance is. But this one, to me, is, you know, sort of like the perfect balance, you know, when it comes to all of those things. So I definitely recommend this one for sure. And again, this is L'Infinite from Fragrance World. All right, next one on the list, this is another one from French Avenue, and this is their take on Bulgari's Tiger, and this is Vie Ciel from French Avenue. So this, to me, out of like the Middle Eastern inspirations that I've smelled, this is going to be the best one that I've smelled anyway. Now, I haven't smelled, for instance, Scepter Bronzite from Maison Alhambra. Haven't smelled that one, and I mean, I'm sure there's probably some other ones that I haven't smelled as well. But this one, once you sort of let this fragrance maturate, this fragrance does become extremely close to Bulgari's Tiger, in my opinion, and it actually gives you a little bit better performance. This, to me, it has better longevity than what Tiger has on my skin, and the projection on this is also a little bit louder than what Tiger is on my skin. Now, it didn't start off that way. Initially, this fragrance was about a 4.5 to 5 hour fragrance when I initially got it. But, you know, after letting this fragrance sit for, you know, a couple of months, it became a lot stronger. And I mean, in my opinion, really the only difference between this and Tiger is this one has, in my opinion, a little bit more muskiness to it than what Tiger has. Tiger is slightly drier than this, but I mean, overall, I think that this is definitely, it's a really good interpretation of the scent profile. So again, this is going to be Vie Ciel from French Avenue. All right, next one on the list is an absolute banger, man, if you can find it. This is going to be Fragrance World's interpretation of Parfums de Marly Setley, and this is Posh Sirius from Fragrance World. This fragrance, I mean, when it initially came out, this was, you know, pretty easy to find. I believe I got this one from tripletraders.com. But right now, and I mean, it's been like this for several months now, this is pretty much impossible to find anywhere for whatever reason. But this is very, very good. So this is, in my opinion, it's extremely close to Parfums de Marly Setley. It's just, you know, to me, it's a more amped up version of the scent profile. So The strength in terms of, you know, the scent goes, the strength is going to be double the strength, in my opinion, you know, to what Parfums de Marly Setley is. And there's a few notes in this, in my opinion, that are amped up a little bit more than what they are in Setley. So the mint, in my opinion, is amped up a little bit more in this fragrance, as well as the lavender. But overall, I feel like the scent itself doesn't really smell that much different from Setley, other than the fact that Setley is just a little bit more softer than what this fragrance is. But overall, the quality on this is very good, and like I said, the performance is even better. So if you can find this fragrance, then I absolutely recommend picking this up. This is like a really nice, fresh, you know, summer scent. It does have a slightly sort of kind of like barbershop type of feel to it that comes from that lavender note, and also some of the other, you know, herbal notes within this fragrance. But this is a really, really nice, refreshing scent profile for the summertime. Absolutely recommend it. And again, this is Posh Sirius from Fragrance World. All right, next one on the list. This is another one from French Avenue, and this is their take on Roja's Elysium Parfum Cologne. This is Divin Asylum. So Divin Asylum, this particular bottle here is actually the original formulation or bottle that came out. I want to say it came out like last year, like in probably the spring or early summer of last year. And this is, in my opinion, it's like the closest thing that you can get to, you know, Roja's Elysium Parfum Cologne, without actually getting the you know, the real thing. It definitely comes the closest, in my opinion, in terms of how it's able to recreate that opening, which, you know, I mean, obviously nothing can really, you know, come 1-to-1 or 100% close to Roja when it comes to like that opening of Roja's Elysium. But this does come very close, in my opinion. I mean, in terms of how close it comes to that opening, to me, it's at least like 92-95% close to the original. And then, you know, in terms of the rest of the fragrance, you know, once you get into that sort of, you know, slightly spicy, slightly floral, like really musky sort of dry down that you get with this fragrance, to me, it smells about the same. You know, I would say this also, to me, my nose is able to pick up on this fragrance a lot better than what it is with, you know, Elysium. So at least for me anyway, this does last longer than what it does, you know, than what Elysium does on my skin. So this is actually one that I prefer wearing over Elysium, other than maybe like the first, you know, 30 seconds of the fragrance, pretty much. All right. So again, this is going to be French Avenue's Divin Asylum. All right, another one from French Avenue. This is their take on BDK's Gris Charnel, the EDP, and this is Francique 63.55. So this is just a really nice, you know, fresh cardamom scent with fig. It's got like some, I believe it's like black tea or something like that that's in this fragrance as well. Really kind of gives it like a really smooth sort of vibe to it. And this is, in my opinion, it is definitely a unisex scent. Maybe for some people, some could kind of say that this leans slightly feminine. In my opinion, it's a, you know, pretty straight down the middle unisex scent. I really love fig scents. I love tea scents. And I do really love cardamom and scents as well. So this has, you know, all of those things wrapped up into this particular scent profile. And I mean, when compared to the original Gris Charnel, this was extremely close to me. I mean, it was like 95% close for the most part to Gris Charnel. And I actually got a lot better performance out of this. The longevity on this fragrance is like at least around 7 to 8 hours or so of total longevity. And I mean, that I wasn't getting that at all with Gris Charnel. I think with Gris Charnel, that was more kind of like around 4 to 5 hours or so. So again, this is like a fraction of the cost of Gris Charnel, smells about the same, gives you better performance. And I like the bottle better than what, you know, the BDK bottles look like. So better presentation in my opinion as well. Definitely check this one out. This is Francique 63.55. All right, so the next one on the list is Fragrance World's take on Miraj Absolu, and that is from Carolina Herrera, and this is Absolute Gold. All right, so the Miraj Absolu is sort of like this, it's kind of like a gourmand fragrance in the sense that, you know, it has like this really creamy, delicious, you know, sort of dark chocolate note that it has, but it has, you know, sort of like a slightly smokiness to it. Does have a lot of, you know, spice in the initial opening spray that comes from, you know, a large dose of black pepper within the fragrance. This to me also kind of has like a slightly sort of floral aspect to it as well. There's a lot going on with this fragrance, and this to me, I mean, when I smelled it side by side with the Carolina Herrera, this was like extremely close to the Carolina Herrera. I didn't really pick up on too many differences between this and the Carolina Herrera at all, you know, in terms of quality, in terms of smell. This one was right there with it. And I mean, in terms of performance, they were also about the same. So you're easily going to get, you know, over 8 hours with this fragrance. In terms of longevity, the scent profile itself is not really a loud, you know, like a loudly projecting sort of scent. So it is going to be a scent profile that's going to kind of give you like a really close scent bubble and not really push out. But I think that that's a good thing, because I think that if this fragrance were, you know, any stronger than what it was, it could potentially become cloying. So I think, you know, that really allows you to really enjoy, you know, this particular scent for sure. So if you like, you know, dark chocolate scents that have, you know, extra sort of sophistication to them, and that are not, you know, I would say like your, you know, average kind of run-of-the-mill sort of gourmand scents, then I would definitely recommend checking this one out. This is extremely hard to find though. So if you can find this, I would say definitely pick it up. But you may not be able to find this fragrance. The only place that I've ever seen this fragrance sold was fragbar.com. And I mean, after they sold out of this fragrance, I haven't seen them carry it again. All right, so check this one out. Again, this is Fragrance World's Absolute Gold. Next one on the list, this is another Parfums de Marly inspiration. This is their take on Parfums de Marly's Greenly, and this is Aether Extrait. All right, so this fragrance to me is like 95% greenly for the most part. It's like a green apple, slightly kind of herbal, slightly kind of grassy and green type of, you know, fresh summer scent. Definitely it's not going to be like a super huge projecting scent. This is going to be, you know, closer to your skin. It is going to be a scent that, you know, in my opinion, you really can't wear in any other time outside of the summer, because it's just not really going to give you enough, you know, push or strength to, you know, really be smelled in any other times of the year. So I wouldn't recommend wearing this in like the fall, the winter, or even like the early spring. Late spring, probably, you know, like late spring going into summer, but definitely summer is going to be the best time to wear this fragrance. And this is just a really pleasant, you know, easygoing type of scent, in my opinion. Doesn't really smell like super niche to me, you know, even though it comes technically from a niche fragrance house. But it is very pleasant, in my opinion. And to me, out of, you know, the different ones that Fragrance World has put out, you know, they've put out this one as well as Midori. To me, this is better than Midori in terms of longevity. This also gave me better longevity than what the original from Parfums de Marly gave me. So you have that as well. I'm right now getting like about 7 hours or so of longevity. I'm sure that'll only improve as this fragrance maturates as well. So Definitely check this one out if you like greenly. This is Aether Extrait. All right, so the next one on the list, this is going to be another Carolina Herrera private line inspiration. This is their take on Carolina Herrera's Mystery Tobacco, and this is Tobacco Myth. So this, in my opinion, is going to be much better than Exclusive Tobacco from Mason Alhambra. This is just extremely smooth, man. This is tobacco. This is, I mean, I really don't know how to really describe this as I'm smelling it right now, because that's just how good this one smells to me, man. Basically, I would say this is like the best version of, fragrances like, Parfums de Marley Carlisle, Mancera's Red Tobacco. I haven't smelled the Argos. I think it's Trial of Bacchus or something like that. I haven't smelled that one, but from what I understand, that's, pretty much within the same vein of, what Mystery Tobacco is. But to me, the Mystery Tobacco scent profile, that one is the best one. It's not like super loud and aggressive and in your face. It's very much kind of smooth and refined. And even though this one isn't like as smooth as what the original is, it's not really that far behind the original fragrance, in my opinion. This does have like just ever so slightly, just, the smallest bit of like alcohol blast when you first spray it on. Maybe it lasts for about 5 to 7 seconds or so, whereas, the original doesn't. And then I think that the tobacco in the original Mystery Tobacco is just ever so slightly smoother. But to me, like, especially once you get to the dry down of the two fragrances, this to me smells about the same as what Mystery Tobacco does, at least in my opinion. And I mean, this is just for a fraction of the cost. The longevity on this is also very good as well. This is easily going to be 12 plus hours. And really good projection as well for about the first 2 hours or so. This is another one of those fragrances that are really hard to find. Now, I have seen this fragrance, at least listed on multiple websites. I believe fragrancebuy.com or fragrancebuy.ca has it listed. I also think Triple Traders has it listed, but both sites are, currently sold out of this fragrance and have been for quite a while. So I would definitely kind of look out on those websites and see, when they actually get these back in stock. And when they do, I absolutely would recommend picking this fragrance up because it is worth it. And again, I mean, it comes extremely close to Mystery Tobacco for about, normally I think this goes for about $40 or so. So check this out, man. Again, it's Tobacco Myth from Fragrance World. All right, so next one on the list, this one to me is like a really underrated fragrance that I really don't think most people talk about. This is another one from that French Avenue line, and this is their take on Matière Première's Incense Suave, and this is Spicy Amber. So this fragrance, this is just like a really smoky incense type of scent. With just a tad, like a touch of vanilla that they put in this fragrance. It has a slightly sort of spiciness from it as well. I believe it comes from like black pepper. This is going to be kind of like along the lines of something like YSL's Baby Cat, or like Paris Corner's Rafaqat. It is going to be slightly along those lines, in my opinion. But the difference between this and something like the Baby Cat scent profile is this isn't as sweet. So it doesn't have as much vanilla as what, Baby Cat has. But it is kind of like, the same type of scent. I would say this is in the same sort of family as those other scents are. But this, if you like really smoky scents, this to me, is definitely the one to go with. This is, like I said, extremely heavy on incense with a slight, just a ever so slightly, vanilla scent that it has in it. This is really, really good though. Really mature, I would say. So not really going to be for like the younger crowd. I would say, you know, definitely this is going to be like 30 and up. But I think if you are able to, you know, kind of, you know, appreciate a scent like this, or if you really like, you know, smoky incense types of scents, then this is definitely one to pick up. Again, this is Spicy Amber from Fragrance World. All right, so the next one is from French Avenue, and this is from their Lumiere line, and this is Lumiere Garcon. And Lumiere Garcon, this is their take on Luminous Night, the one Luminous Night from Dolce & Gabbana. So this to me is going to be slightly more herbal than what Luminous Night is. I get a little bit more basil from this one for probably like the first hour or so. But then after that, this fragrance smells identical to Luminous Night. And then in terms of the performance is also very good as well. Now, there is the other fragrance, I believe it's like the one and only Moonlit Night from Fragrance World as well. That one is from a lower tier line within Fragrance World. And you can smell the difference between that and something like Lumiere Garcon. This is going to give you much better projection when compared to that fragrance. And also the longevity is going to be better as well. This is easily a 12 plus hour fragrance, at least on me anyway. And I mean, you know, again, in terms of quality, it's right there with the Dolce & Gabbana. So if you're a fan of Luminous Night, but you can't, you know, you either can't find a bottle of that fragrance, or if you can, you know, it's at a price that you can't afford, then I do think that this is, you know, the best alternative for you. Again, this is Lumiere Garcon from French Avenue. All right, next one on the list. This one is another one from the Lumiere line, and this is actually their take on Louis Vuitton Stellar Times, and this is Lumiere Elle. So this is an extremely good interpretation of Stellar Times. This fragrance also, you know, every time I smell this fragrance, after, you know, kind of letting it sit for a little while, it just becomes better and better. It really does. And I mean, to me, this is going to be the best, you know, interpretation that you can, you know, get your hands on when it comes to Stellar Times. So the only other, you know, Stellar Times interpretation that I've smelled so far has been Alexandria's Stellar Moments. And then, you know, obviously you have the Lattafa interpretation, which is the Massamum White Intense. That one to me didn't really come close at all. The Alexandria does come close, but in my opinion, this one is better. So with Stellar Times, you're getting like this really strong orange blossom, amber. You're getting like a really nice fresh bergamot, like within the opening spray. It's a very, very unique scent. Definitely feminine leaning, but I do think, you know, some men could probably pull this fragrance off. The only reason why I still have this fragrance is because I'm just still debating on whether or not this is a fragrance that I would, you know, realistically wear. But it's definitely a fragrance that I absolutely love smelling, for sure. This is just, I don't know, it's a very unique but very sexy type of scent. Definitely one that I would prefer to smell on a woman, for sure. But, you know, if you are someone who is a fan of Stellar Times, this is, I would say, the best bet. This comes right now, in my opinion, it comes at least like 95% close for the most part to Stellar Times. Like there's not many differences at all. Stellar Times does have a slightly more concentrated smell to it due to the fact that it's an extrait de parfum and this is an eau de parfum. But I mean, other than that, you know, maybe you could say that the Louis Vuitton is slightly brighter in the way that it comes across. But I mean, it's a very minimal difference. And considering the price difference between the two, This one normally goes for about $51.99 on tripletraders.com. The original fragrance from Louis Vuitton goes for like $560 on the Louis Vuitton website. So the Louis Vuitton is like 10 times more than what this fragrance is, and it absolutely does not smell 10 times better. So this is definitely the way to go if you like that scent profile. Again, this is Lumiere Elle from Fragrance World. All right, next one is from just the regular Fragrance World line. This is their take on Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford, and this is Vanille En Tobacco. So this fragrance, to me, it gets all of the aspects of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille pretty much down. The only thing that this doesn't have is that really sort of thick sort of honey, that you get from Tobacco Vanille. Which honestly, I don't necessarily miss that within, Tobacco Vanille. To me, it makes Tobacco Vanille wear a lot heavier than what I would like it to wear. This definitely leans more, in my opinion, into the tobacco, the cinnamon, the other spices, and then it has a really good emphasis on the dried fruits within the fragrance as well. So this, at least for me anyway, I actually prefer this over the original Tom Ford. Like I said, with that, sort of honey note that you get with the original Tom Ford, it just makes for a thicker, denser scent. And I mean, I would say if I wanted like a thicker, sort of denser, tobacco type of scent, I would go with something more like, Maison Alhambra's Tabac, which is their take on Dior Tabacular. But this to me is, it's the best Tobacco Vanille inspiration that I've smelled. So definitely check this one out. Again, this is Vanille En Tobacco from Fragrance World. All right, next one on the list. This one is also from Fragrance World, and this is their take on YSL Y's EDT. This is F Eau de Parfum from Fragrance World. So this fragrance, I don't really see too many people talking about this one either, but this is extremely close interpretation of YSL Y's EDT. So the difference between this fragrance is, at least in the opening spray, to me, this one, it definitely comes off as slightly harsher than what the YSL does. Yeah, you do get this really sort of rough, kind of aldehydic sort of smell, which aldehydes are in the opening spray, I think, or the opening notes of the original, but they come off as being a little bit rougher in this fragrance. But it does settle down pretty quickly, and then after that you start to get the citruses that come out as well. And I mean, I would say after probably about 5 minutes or so, this smells identical to YSL Y's EDT. Now, I know YSL Y EDT, they have like a newer formulation that's supposed to last at least about 8 hours. I think the sample that I got of my YSL Y EDT was like the original formulation that had pretty poor performance, but this pretty much performs close to, I would say, the newer formulation. So this one, I get like around that 7-hour mark or so for the most part of total longevity, and it's going to give you pretty good projection, at least for about the first hour and a half or so. So this is a very easy to wear summertime citrusy type of scent. I wear this one a lot to the gym as well. It's that type of scent that you would want to wear in the high heat, that's kind of mass appealing and really pleasant to those around you. So again, check this one out, man. Again, this is F EDP from Fragrance World. All right, so the last one on the list, this is another one of those Tom Ford inspirations from Fragrance World. This is their take on, I believe it's called Cherry Smoke from Tom Ford, and this is Cherry Incense. All right, so Cherry Incense, this is extremely close to Cherry Smoke. So the cherry and Cherry Smoke, when I smelled the two side by side, the Cherry Smoke did have a slightly better blend to it for, I would say at least within like the opening. The cherry in that fragrance smelled slightly richer than what it does in the cherry incense, but in my opinion, that extra sort of, you know, richness that you got from the Tom Ford, that really only lasted for probably like the first, I would say 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes. And then after that, the two fragrances smell identical. You're going to get just this is pretty much, it's like the Lost Cherry sort of scent profile in my opinion, but it's nowhere near as sweet. It's definitely going to be a lot more smokier, and more, in my opinion, kind of like aromatic. So it's not going to be like as dense and thick as something like Lost Cherry would be. This is also going to be, in my opinion, more on like the masculine side when it comes to a cherry scent, as opposed to Lost Cherry, which would be more kind of like feminine leaning. This doesn't have any sort of booziness to it like Lost Cherry does. But again, you know, the focus here with the cherry is making it, you know, like a really sort of smoky sort of cherry. And that's what you get with this fragrance. If you like, you know, cherry smoke from Tom Ford, I would absolutely recommend picking this one up. Like I said, other than that first 30 minutes where cherry smells slightly richer, you know, in the Tom Ford, after that, the two fragrances smell pretty much identical. And this one is only like $20. All right. So again, cherry incense from Fragrance World. All right, man. So that's the list. That is my list of my top 20 fragrances from Fragrance World. Definitely let me know what you all thought about this list. Let me know if you all have any or all of these fragrances. And if so, do you all love these fragrances? Are they just okay? Do you hate any of them? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.